kick for the visitors.
Just a little Eve there, treble. Didn't really have to dive in, but wanted to win the tackle. Gave away a free kick. A dangerous free kick in this area as well, with Noon looking to bend one of those balls into like he did in the first couple of minutes.
Another delivery which is going to test Pearce out, but that a much more comfortable assignment. Olympic did finish the NPL season rather slowly before it was suspended. 6 losses in their last 7 competitive matches. They were locked inside the top 5, heading towards a final spot, and then the wheels really fell off at the back end of the season, and they sat 7th when it was cancelled. So it probably came at the right time, the lockdown for their season, and now they can reset and go again in the FFA Cup. There's Jared Muller pinching it back for Olympic, but only momentarily. Noon again. It's been a focal point already for the Bulls down the right. De Silva. Davila in space. They cannot afford to give the Mexican that kind of room tonight. And now Noon. That time the delivery evading the Englishman.
Well, we've seen early here, Ben, the attacks from Macarthur coming down this right-hand side. Look at Treble. He's going to need a lot of help with the likes of De Silva, Davia and Noon all coming to that side at some stage in these early minutes.
Yeah, they are looking sharp already, the likes of Noon, Davila. We haven't really seen Lockie Rose. He's over on that left-hand side. Danny De Silva as well. And Jordan Much as well in the midfield as we see this free kick go the way of Olympic. I was going to say Jordan Much. We just hear a conversation from a member of the crowd a little bit too close to the effects mic. But Jordan Much now with a full pre-season under his belt in Australia. It'll be exciting to see what he can do because he came sort of halfway through the season last year for Wanderers. Treble. Good intervention from him. Muller. And now Cooper! Just wide of Nick Suman's goal.
That's a nice play from Olympic there. Hustling and bustling to win the ball. And Cooper, the captain, with the final touch and shot, just dragging it across the goal. A little bit sticky on the grass maybe, but it's a warning sign early for Macarthur. I think we'll see after this 7 minutes, we'll see that this is probably how the game will pan out. Macarthur with most of the possession. Newcastle Olympic sitting in, trying to thwart, trying to frustrate the team and looking for those opportunities when they get to break.
De Silva taking on Davies. James Meredith. And Much. Tommy Uzcock, the new man from Western United, had a really solid season for the Green and Black last year, despite them missing the finals. Davila. Good turn from De Silva. And again, Olympic bodies and legs in front of the ball.
Well, we can see all 11 Newcastle Olympic players in the box at the moment, defending.
Meredith trying to take on Cooper. He did so successfully. And now Noon Good save from Adam Pearce. Reflex with the legs. Keeps Macarthur at bay for the moment, but the pressure is being applied quite considerably by the visitors.
We just spoke about Newcastle Olympic having all 11 players inside their box, maybe just conceding a little too much ground. The problem they have, if they win the ball, there's no one upfield really to play forward to. They'll find that ball keeps coming back.
Well, they'll get plenty of time tonight, Macarthur, to test out their ball movement. As Noon, Cross, Davila and De Silva again, they are really causing some problems at that back stick for the Olympic defence.
Yeah, Davies has to be on his toes. It's 2 or 3 headers now he's cleared away as those curling balls into the back stick. He's done well every time so far.
As you were saying before, Macarthur coming into this one on the back of 4 straight trial defeats. Just depends whether you read too much into that or not, considering they are trial matches. And that hook to be on Noon.
Yeah, well, look, you're right, Ben. They are trial matches and they are for getting your systems right and your understanding between your players. But as a team and as a player and as a collective, you really want to be positive outcome from those games. You really want to be winning. Yes, we can learn from those games, but that breeds a confidence if you can go out and get results.
Speaking of confidence, Macarthur have plenty playing away from home. They were the best side in the A-League men's last season away from their home ground at Campbelltown. 7 wins from 13 matches, 23 points accrued, so they don't have any issues going on the road. And you can see just how strong that breeze is from the west, about 50 k's an hour.
He might need an NFL. Is it the placeholder to hold the ball for him?
Hold the ball. Yeah, west-northwesterly at 45 k's an hour with gusts up to 60 k's an hour at the moment. It has dropped off. It was sort of at a peak around 50 to 60 kilometre an hour winds earlier today. But still, playing football in the wind, as you would know, Macca, is challenging. As you can see there, the ball bending back towards Olympic.
If I'm honest, Ben, it's probably the worst conditions for a footballer, the wind. You need to get that ball down and try and play it on the ground.
Najjar and Noon. He'll continue the run, Moody Najjar, but Noon opts for much. Noon. Again, too much power from the Englishman, but I'm sure he'll get plenty of opportunities tonight to try and deliver the perfect cross.
Well, that's his fourth, I think his fourth cross from that position now. And like you said, these blustery conditions get a little bit too much on it and it just carries it away. But he's threatened every time he's got that ball on this side, back onto his left. I think we need to, for the Newcastle Olympic sake, they need to get one of those midfielders across to help Kane Treble, just so when he cuts back onto that left foot, they're there in his face. You don't give him the time to pick his cross.
Uzcock feeds Noon. Good defensive work from Louis Townsend back at the club he began his NPL career with. Did spend some time with Maitland and also Adamstown. So it's been short corners galore from Macarthur today, and that's going to continue. And there's an issue. The assistant referee has said there's an offside.
Well played from Newcastle Olympic. Realising the short corner, stepping up.
Outsmarted themselves. The ball's there. What are you putting that down to, the short corners, Mac? Are you saying that is down to the wind today, or are they just trying to work on something?
No, it might be just to move the set defence. You know, just move that ball, create a different angle, move the defenders around. It might be a signal for your runners. You know, when that touch goes in and it's stopped, that's when you're ready to go. It's obviously something they want to work on.
Well, Craig Noon could be in trouble here. It's not something you need to do.
Nah. Silly thing to do. You know you're going to get a yellow card for that. And duly given.
So all of a sudden he's on a warning that he really didn't have to go into the book for. And maybe he is just a bit frustrated with the opening 15 minutes. His last few crosses just building. De Silva arcs his run away from Davies, who returns now. Much. De Silva almost spilled for Momombwa, who's now on the ball. What a star he was at the back end of last season. And Louis Townsend again nicks it back for Olympic. Releases treble. And that was always going to be a bridge too far for Jared Muller. 3 balls around him.
And that's going to be the problem for Olympic. It's so deep on the edge of their box that when they do break, it's very hard for players to get up quick enough to get support around the ball.
De Silva, 4 goals last year for the Mariners, his best in the goal scoring department. And now Uzcock, when he hits the ball, it stays hit, but on that occasion couldn't bring it down to test out Pearce.
I don't mind that. All those players in the box, you could get a deflection. You know, it's difficult to get short little intricate passes through that number of bodies in there, so why not? Get it out your feet. Smack one from outside the box. Also tells the Olympic players that they need to step out a little bit.
He signed a 2-year deal for Macarthur, did Tommy Uzcock. 23 appearances for Western United last year, and a player who started with the Mariners but really was picked up from his performances in the NPL with Sydney United and the Melbourne Knights, and of course through the FFA Cup. This is why it is such a great competition, giving a chance to players to put themselves in the spotlight.
And it's great to see some players, you know, they don't get that extra contract. They go up to the A-League, don't quite get, or not quite ready. They'll go back, go to the NPL, prove themselves again and go and win a contract again. And he's been a real exponent of that, showing that, yeah, look, I'm ready now. I'm ready to be back. And as you say, had a fantastic season last year.
Yeah, and a clear indication that everyone develops at different rates. Najar. Here's Meredith. De Silva, just that pass a bit heavy onto Davila, but he'll be disappointed in his touch. The Macarthur captain made the move from Wellington. 19 goals for the Phoenix in his couple of seasons there. I think the most disappointing aspect for him of last year was the fact he only got a few occasions to play in front of those home fans, because he's worth the price of admission is Ulysses Davila.
Yes, quality signing, and he's the kind of player that will run the show for your team. Looks to get on the ball, drive at players, creative with the pass, short and long. Very passionate player as well. Saw him speaking this week that very proud to be named captain. He's not going to die wondering. He'll give everything for the club.
Here he is, the former Chelsea man as well. Meredith, Jovanovic. Najar had a consistent season last year, did the man on the ball right now, Moody Najar. What can Noon come up with? It's a little bit awkward for Olympic. Comfortably grasped by Adam Pearce. And you sense they'll just grow a little more in confidence, Newcastle Olympic, not conceding. Almost another 10 minutes have passed.
Yeah, and they're obviously, as I said earlier, they're looking to frustrate Macarthur. And Macarthur really need to just be patient. You know, they're going to have a lot of possession. They're going to have to try and move the ball around when they get towards the Olympic box and just try to work those openings. And they have to believe in themselves that one will come.
Momombwa, chance at the back post, and De Silva had it blocked. That was one of their better opportunities in the opening 20 and a bit minutes. Just with a bit of fatigue setting in potentially for Olympic. It's this period of the match where a lot of NPL teams have conceded against A-League men's opposition. Noon onto the head away of Blake Green.
This is the patience we're talking about. Just looking to draw the Olympic players out, move them around and try and fashion Noon on again.
The pressure is building. And Noon is spinning. Treble closed him down well. Noon onto the left. Good tackle from Curran. And a good touch away from Najar. Looking to release Muller. Jovanovic with the chest down. There are appeals for handball. And the referee, Avitsakovic, says there was one. Jovanovic is incredulous. He says, "It's off my chest, sir." And that's what it looked from up here.
Well, it's an opportunity for Olympic to get the ball into Macarthur's box. We'll have another look here. I think he's got a case. Did come off the chest, but maybe the way the arm flung out, the referee maybe thought it just clipped it.
And the home fans getting fired up, so I'm sure that would have played a part as well. Here is Tom Curran, the 21-year-old, come through the Newcastle Jets youth system. And just over the head of Marcus Duncan, so the air comes out of the balloon for Olympic on that occasion.
And it was the air again, the wind taking that ball, just clipped it, caught on that wind and sailed over the back. Going to have to make the most of those opportunities.
Because Macarthur are going to be straight back down, putting the pressure on as they are here. Davila, tight angle, too challenging even for the gifted Mexican.
It's going to be interesting to see, Benny, the amount of passes from fullbacks to wingers from the Macarthur team today. Constantly probing in those wide areas, moving it out.
Now, I'm not sure we get completed passes stats from these games, but it would be intriguing reading as Townsend lobs it over the top. Curran racing after it. And Nick Suman's pass, misguided as he was looking for Meredith. Just the 5A League matches for Suman in the Macarthur goal, but they were all for Wanderers, so hasn't played for the Bulls in a competitive match. So you feel Olympic might want to try and test him out in these windy conditions.
If they get an opportunity to get down that end, I think Tom Curran did well there. He was 1 against 5 and still managed to win the throw-in. I'd like to see the Olympic players step up with their teammates when they do go to press, or in those occasions where they're going to break. They seem to all stand back and wait.
Corner for Olympic. So over the halfway mark in this first half, the round of 32 in the FFA Cup at number 2 Sports Ground in Newcastle. The home team doing well to keep things level at this point. Bent in dangerously. Townsend. And that header falls for Danny De Silva, who's showing his speed down the left edge. Leaves it for Momombwa. And now Cooper. Not to the feet of Jared Muller as he was hoping. Najar. Noon. Thought about unleashing on that occasion after a couple of misguided crosses, and he can't hit the target. So the frustration just building for Craig Noon and Macarthur.
Yeah, went with the shot on that occasion, and it's difficult. The wind is actually right behind his back from where he's shooting there. So to try and bend that around into the far corner, it's going to be difficult with the wind. Just takes it away, and you can see it's straight away. Leaning back a little, but just balloons away in the wind. Best press to look for the bending corner shot into the far corner from the other side of the field into the wind.
And I think we can cut Craig Noon a little bit of slack. This is his first competitive match since May. Didn't play in the grand final for Melbourne City with an injury back at the back end of the season. De Silva. Davila, good interplay. Meredith. And Jovanovic. No one in front of Craig Noon at the moment. He's had so much space and time in this first half. Jovanovic gets out the pile driver.
You see both centre-backs now have that opportunity.
Well, you just wonder, it's not a bad shout going for the long-range effort. Windy, swirling, Adam Pearce in his first match for Olympic. All those factors coming together, it could be a good option to test out the keeper. Much. Rose, it's a free kick on the edge of the box. Rose did go down in the box, but it was the foul on the Macarthur captain which has drawn the whistle.
Yeah, I thought Lachlan Rose went down a little too easy in the box, but Davila caught on the outside, and this is a dangerous position. You see, just going for the little pass inside, just caught him late.
This will be intriguing. Craig Noon over the set piece. A test for the Olympic wall, but Adam Pearce in goals as well. He's passed every test thus far. Now, just off screen, Tommy Uzcock is standing right in front of Adam Pearce. Seen Stephen Taylor do that as well.
Yeah. Just blocking the eye line.
And then the free kick goes in the top corner. So can Craig Noon deliver? Much is also standing over it. The two Englishmen. Who will it be? It's Much. And blocked and cleared away by Marcus Duncan.
The wall did its job. Stood strong.
So Macarthur, who were within one win of the A-League Men's Grand Final last season, held at the moment after almost half an hour against Newcastle Olympic. Davila allowed some space here. Feeds Much. Noon. That's better. It's closer from Craig Noon to the head there of Lockie Rose, who's had limited opportunities in this first half.
It's difficult for Rose. He's in the box. There's about 8 Olympic players around him. But Noon's just trying to still find his radar. He's getting closer. But if I was Joel Griffiths, I would be a little concerned with the amount of time that Craig Noon gets on this right-hand side. He likes to cut in on that left foot nearly every time, and he's been able to get across in on most occasions. It's something he may have to address. So you don't want to give a man of that quality too many opportunities to find his mark.
Once again, given some space and time, Craig Noon to feed Momombwa. Najar via treble. It's going to be a corner for Macarthur.
It's a good overlapping run from Najar there. Momombwa just with the trickery, the step overs, drawing into the defender, and a lovely overlapping run from Najar. Love to see him do that. Really get forward and cause some havoc.
This time, directly from the corner goes Craig Noon. Well defended again by Olympic. And now Craig Noon in some space. That is a crucial header there from Kane Treble. And then Townsend again with a toe in.
You had to make the header there, Treble. Noon had made a great run in behind. Lovely ball from Much.
Davila Rose. Balloons over the bar.
You just see Rose again finding space. 4 or 5 players around him in the box. Still managed to find the space, get the shot off. Just can't get over it. See him just motioning there, get the knee up and over the ball.
So this basically a packed grandstand here at number 2 Sports Ground. Great crowd in the house at one of the most picturesque grounds in the Hunter. Davila. That's overhit, pounced on by Duncan. And effectively from Macarthur tonight, a full-strength lineup. Al Hassan Toure is cup-tied from his time with Adelaide, and Philip Curto arriving in the country this weekend. So they're the 2 men missing, but apart from that, it's a similar side, or a squad at least, that Ante Milicic will have at his disposal next week. Momombwa. Meredith, no one was coming at him, so he said, I'll just pick the pass. Duncan's clearance is going to swirl in the breeze. And Davila, he's copped a boot. It's an unfortunate one because there probably wasn't much doing there for Macarthur, but it's another set piece in a great spot on the park.
Yeah, completely unintentional. Looking to clear the ball, but Davila a little too sharp. Just got his foot in and brought the ball down. And again, almost the exact replica of the spot from the last free kick. See if there's a better outcome for Macarthur.
It was an awkward one for De Silva to deal with, and probably didn't have to swing the boot there, Jared Muller.
I just thought he was going to get there before Davia, but quick off the mark, got his foot in the way and won his team a free kick.
So Noon and De Silva this time. It was Noon from this angle previously. Should say it was Much. Now it is Noon off the wall. And now it falls for the strike for Jovanovic. It's a pinball in the box. And Olympics survive again.
Sheer weight of numbers keeping the ball out there, Benny.
Well, they're doing just enough at the moment, the home team. Almost inside the final 10 minutes before half time. Noon pulls it right, but it wasn't a bad try from that kind of range.
He found himself central this time. He's seen his two centre-backs have a crack from that area and he thought, why not? Pulls it onto his left-hand side. Again, just drags it across the face. He's had plenty of ball in this first 35 minutes. Just hasn't quite found the Midas touch yet.
What's going to please Joel Griffiths and Newcastle Olympic fans at this point is how defensively sound they've been to this point. As Momombwa, down he goes. It's a goal kick. As the referee pointed towards the middle of the park, I think there was a few Olympic fans that had their hearts in their mouths, but it's just a goal kick.
There's another good forward run from Momombwa. His second or third run now in between that left fullback and centre back. Just causes problems in behind.
Good to see the bullpen coming up to Newcastle for this clash. At the northern end of number 2 Sports Ground, behind the Macarthur goal, which hasn't really been troubled too often tonight. Noon. And Najar. Great run from Craig Noon. Another goal kick. Joel Griffiths is out of the dugout. He's saying it should be a yellow card for diving. Ivan Jolic, one of the assistants for Macarthur, he's come across and said it should be a penalty. Where do you stand, Macca?
I have to agree with the Macarthur coaching staff. I think he takes a touch and he's brought down by the player. Maybe his only saving grace is that the ball is going over the byline as he's clipped, but for me, he got caught. I think Olympic can find themselves a little bit lucky there.
Townsend. Curran. This is one of their best forays of the first half, Olympic. Townsend, well, with a little kick out there, just behind play, Louis Townsend. He's got to be careful. Treble. And now Muller gets the cross in. Only as far, though, as Tommy Uzcock. Couldn't find his captain, Reece Cooper. But promising moment for Olympic, but this is where they're going to be really tested, when they push forward and there's space at the back. And Craig Noon has plenty of it. The bottom right-hand corner. Meredith just catches it inside the byline. De Silva. Davila. Oh. A perfect save from Adam Pearce, just touching it up and over the bar. He's been good tonight, the Olympic goalkeeper, in his first match for the club.
Fantastic spin and shot from Davia. For all money, looked to be going in the top corner, but Adam Pearce, he had other ideas. It was De Silva driving into the box. Oh,
And now the header is in for Macarthur. Finally, the dam wall bursts. And it's Alex Jovanovic with a powerful header.
Well, they tried with a few short corners, with a long one this time, all the way to the back stick. And Jovanovic, nice strong header, good neck, uses his neck muscles to guide that ball right back over the top, looping into the far corner. There's nothing that Adam Pearce could do about that one. It's taken them almost 40 minutes. They finally get that goal.
So now the question is, what do Newcastle Olympic do in the shadows of half-time? Are they happy with a 1-0 advantage at this point to take to the sheds? Or do they have to come out and play a little more?
I think for a little while, you stick to your tactics, what you think's best. But as the game wears on, and if it remains this scoreline, they might start to think, well, we need to push on. But their defence has been quite resolute. Lots of possession for Macarthur, but Olympic obviously happy with that.
So close to being 1-0 moments earlier when Davila had that shot saved by Adam Pearce. And now Noon and Lockie Rose. The goals are flowing now for the Bulls. He found the delivery and Lockie Rose guides it home to make it 2-0.
Well, we spoke about Craig Noon having multiple opportunities to get his crosses in, not quite finding his range. And there is Familia, pulls it back onto that left foot, whips it in. Lachlan Rose in between, gets across his defender, and that's right on the money. An easy header, 5 yards out and 2-0. And suddenly, from being quite happy for Olympic, at 0-0, 2 minutes later, it's 0-2.
Well, the dam wall has burst, and now it's a torrent from the Bulls. They are rampaging now in the shadows of half-time, and it could get worse for Olympic. They've got their tails up. Craig Noon has found his confidence with that perfect delivery. And here he is again, onto the left.
And that's a real blow for the Olympic players. They've worked so hard. They're doing so well around the box. 2 goals in 2 minutes, 5 minutes out from half-time. Really deflates you to go in at half-time. There need to be concentration levels now to make sure it remains like this.
Rose. And it spins into the arms of Adam Pearce. That really could have gone anywhere. Still 3 minutes until half-time. Macarthur trying to put this game to bed before half-time. Rack up the goals and the confidence in front of goal before they take on Wellington Phoenix next Sunday afternoon.
Just watching Ante Milicic on the sideline. He's imploring his team to keep going, get up, move the ball quicker. He's not happy. He wants to keep going. Don't ease off.
Davila almost tricked himself there. Mamombwa and De Silva. Another free kick for the Bulls. Much. If it was much closer to goal, it would have been 3-0.
How did I know you were going to use that, Benny? Again, as we said before, not a bad effort from that area. Get the time and the space to get it out your feet. Try and use that wind to your advantage. Just got under it a little bit too much.
How about the footwork there from Charles Momombwa? So classy. Here's a corner.
Yeah, he's looked good on the ball every time he's had it, hasn't he, Momombwa? Positive, looking to force an issue, run at players, nice little passes.
Yeah, scored that key goal against the Mariners in the finals last year to set them on their way to the preliminary final. Noon, and now Much. Davila, Lockie Rose looking for 2 in a matter of minutes. He may still get a chance at that because the Bulls have another corner. And Olympic are desperate for half-time.
It's great positioning from Rose here. Just found himself in space at the back post as the ball came to him. Good desperate defending again.
Pierce got a punch. So we've got a couple of minutes of additional time. Plenty for the visitors to test out Olympic at least once or twice. De Silva with a couple of step overs. And now that touch, first time to Davila. Davies with the slippery clearance. Uzcock fires it to Noon. Couldn't beat the first man in Blake Green. And now Lockie Rose, brimming with confidence. De Silva, almost picking out the top corner.
And that's what we talked about earlier when Craig Noon shot from this near side. The wind favours that, cutting in from the right on the left. Just thought that was going to nestle in the top corner. We know he's got that in his locker. Just couldn't quite get the bend on it. You see, he has a little look. I think I can get that postage stamp right in the top right corner.
Knock a few cobwebs out of the number 2 sports ground goals. Haven't been used for a while, so
I think they might have been blown out today, Benny.
So it was the Great Wall of Olympic for 40 minutes and then the running of the Bulls for the final 5. Half-time at number 2 Sports Ground in Newcastle. Olympic 0, Macarthur 2. And you felt the goals were coming, and finally they did, Macca.
Yeah, almost a half of when you see in training attack versus defence, but Bulls peppering and finally getting those 2 chances to fall in. Olympic did very well for those 40 minutes, but will be deflated a little now going into half time. So Joel Griffiths will have to give them a good pump up and get them ready for that second half.
We'll be back in a few minutes with Daniel McBreen's superb first half analysis. We'll catch you very soon. That is what they are playing for, and tonight it's Macarthur 1 foot into the final 16. Welcome back to number 2 Sports Ground in Newcastle. NPL side Newcastle Olympic taking on Macarthur FC. With myself, Ben Homer, in commentary for this one is Daniel McBreen. And Macca, Olympic held Macarthur for about 40 minutes, but finally the Bulls scored, and they did it pretty quickly, grabbing a second.
Yeah, it was a great header from Jovanovic, and then we saw Noon with multiple crossing opportunities in the game. Finally found a great one to the back stick, and Lachlan Rose, like all good strikers, took his defender away from the area, got back across the front of him, and that ball was a peach. 5 yards out, easy header, and all the hard work for Newcastle Olympic undone in 2 minutes.
The question is, how do the home side approach this second half after playing pretty defensively across that opening 45?
Yeah, well, look, they have to come out now a little bit to play, don't they? It's fine to sit everyone around on your box and defend while it's 0-0, and it's difficult against A-League opposition, but they're going to have to start to think about stepping forward a little bit as a team, as a unit. You can see the possession stats there, 89%, shots 12-1. It's been, like I said, almost like a training session, attack versus defence, so we'll see how Newcastle Olympic come out. I would expect them to step forward and try and play a little bit more.
Well, let's hope that possession stat can move a little bit more in favour of Newcastle Olympic in the second half. Otherwise, you sense it was going to be a really tough second half. We'll be back very, very shortly with the start of the second half from number 2 Sports Ground in Newcastle. And this season, the A-Leagues is on Channel 10 and Paramount Plus, and it starts next week. So, in time for the season, let's get to know commentator Simon Hill.
My name's Simon Hill, and I'm going to be commentating the national teams and A-League and W-League for Channel 10 and Paramount Plus. What Australian football means to me is everything. I mean, I'm a newcomer to this country, relatively. I came here in 2003. It is a family. It's taken me into their hearts, and now I am evangelical about it. I want it desperately to succeed. And we know we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but we've got so much blue sky ahead, and I passionately believe in that. What excites me most is the fact that we have only just scratched the surface of our potential as a sport. When you look, just a few years ago, we had 60-odd thousand watching the Sydney Derby, 40+ thousand watching a Melbourne Derby. We have full houses for grand finals, for Big Blues, for the Socceroos, for the Matildas. The fans are there. People love this sport in Australia. We belong, and we just got to make that connection to get the people who play the game and are passionate about it, maybe for their local club side or for their overseas team. We've got to get them involved with the A-League and the W-League, and we're going to do that. There are 2 big hurdles, I think, for the Socceroos on the road to Qatar. The first, obviously, is COVID, which could put a spoke in the wheel of playing home games. We hope that's not the case throughout the group stage, but that's going to be difficult. The group that we're in is very, very tough. We know about Japan, of course, and Saudi Arabia to a certain extent, but the other teams are going to be difficult as well. They're on the rise, particularly Vietnam, that have invested an awful lot of money in their football, and we don't really hear too much about it, but trust me, they're on the move. But are we good enough? Yeah, I think so. I'm going to steal 2 favourite Socceroos moments, if that's okay. First of all, the qualifier against Uruguay in 2005. That's not, and I've said this before, probably my personal favourite, because I had a difficult night in the commentary box. But it was so important for the country, and really the game of football took off after that game on 16th of November 2005. It's imprinted into our heads, that date, which tells you all you need to know. The second one is the game against Japan in Germany. The Socceroos' first ever win at a World Cup finals. Timmy's 2 goals, John Aloisi's late strike. Just pure euphoria and mayhem. That's what football's about. It's brilliant. My prediction for season 21-22 in the A-League is that Melbourne Victory are going to be an awful lot better. Let's be honest, they have to be after the wooden spoon last year, and Tony Popovich certainly won't stand for that. So Victory will be on the rise. In the W League, similarly, I think Melbourne City had a very disappointing campaign by their very lofty standards last year. So I think they will be contenders again. So that's my prediction. A much better season for both halves of Melbourne. The beard, obviously. I mean, if Broski's not going to claim it, I am. What I'm most looking forward to being part of the team is being back inside football stadiums every weekend, COVID permitting, of course. I've missed that. It's been a big gap in my life to be around football people, to be around the game that I'm passionate about and love, and to be involved in it on a day-by-day basis. There's nothing like it. It's the best job in the world.
Welcome back to number 2 Sports Ground in Newcastle. It's the round of 32 in the FFA Cup, and it's the home side who are down 2-0. They've made a change at half-time. Their captain, Reece Cooper, has been replaced by one of their new signings, Jackson Burston. Played for Hunter Valley Club Western in the NPL this season, making the move to the inner city and Newcastle Olympic. So the second half underway. Olympic with a lot of work to do. The Bulls looking to fine-tune for the A-League men's season start next Sunday. And Daniel McBreen In a sense, the Bulls will want to continue the goal fest that we saw at the back end of that first half.
Yeah, I think they're quite confident. Plenty of time on the ball. We saw the possession stats from the first half, and this man Noon himself.
Well, Davila. They may just continue straight after half time. De Silva. Davila. Much. No one there in grey to bundle it home at the back post. There was so much space though.
Yeah, much of the same start to the second half as we saw for the duration of the first. And it's a game of patience again from Macarthur. Move that ball around, probe down one side, maybe move it around the other. And it's a late challenge there from Jackson Burson, looking to inject himself into the game.
And straight across, had a few words to Davila, making his presence felt, and he's into the book.
Yeah.
Didn't take long, off the bench and into the book.
Well, his very first action was a tackle on Meredith. And there he's, that's very late. Caught Meredith right on the ankle. That's a sore one.
De Silva. Darting around again. That's a good tackle there from Burston. Pressure arrives though from Danny De Silva to pinch it back for the Bulls. Tom Davies trying to keep him at bay. Momombwa. Quick ball speed. And now Much.
The difficult thing for Newcastle Olympic here, Ben, as we spoke about earlier, they didn't train for 3 months, 2 or 3 months while lockdown was on. In that time, A-League team was training continuously. It's hard enough for these NPL teams when they come up against A-League opposition. You know, we can sit here and say, oh, Olympics should step out and try and play higher, but fitness now in the second half will start to show as well. You know, I'm sure these guys are starting to feel it towards the end of that second half when we saw the 2 goals scored.
Much they're linking with De Silva. And it was that goal from the set piece from Alex Jovanovic. Just looping it in. Really powerful header. Just broke the back of Olympic, and then Craig Noon delivered to Lockie Rose. Muller is racing down. The ball just wouldn't spin back for him. Now Craig Noon again afforded space. Najar lines it up. Blocked by Blake Green. Noon again. And Olympic, well, they got in each other's way. Miscommunication. In the end, they'll get away with just a goal kick.
It was a lovely floated ball to the back stick from Noon. He's had a lot of joy in that today. Nobody seemed to want to go to the ball from either team. They all stood back and all looked at each other, all looked at the ball. It somehow ended up being a goal kick. I think the Olympic players thought it was just going to drift over that back line, but stopped dead. Lockie Ray says, well, I'll have a piece of it.
It was very awkward for Tom Davies there. Much wins the header. Noon. Rutledge got his boot up. Ante Milicic imploring his side to use the width which they do, of Danny De Silva. Momombwa to the byline. Just ran out of room.
Well, Meredith had made a great run from the outside in behind the Olympic defence. He was screaming for the pass. Just as you see Momombwa just drive inside here, Meredith had made a great run. You see, he just pulls up there. And Pearce getting the hurry up.
And for all the factors you were just outlining, Macarthur, feel this year, more so than most, it's going to be almightily difficult for any NPL side to cause a cup set. Marcus Duncan, that was energetic.
And in saying the no training aspect, not just the physical side, trying to get your team organised and well structured. I think Olympics been training for 3 weeks and one friendly, as you said. On the other hand, Macarthur, 4 friendly games against A-League opposition, training for a few months now. You start to see that tiredness creeping into Olympic. Sloppy clearances there.
Yeah, Davila and De Silva, and Much wins the free kick. No, he doesn't. The home fans were silent. The Macarthur fans making plenty of noise, and the referee said it'll just be a goal kick. Yep.
Yeah, I think he just played for it, didn't he? Realised the ball was going out. Slight touch, down he went. Little look at the referee. Please, sir, can I have that one? See Jared Muller get it. It's the second header he's won now from the goal kick. No Olympic player willing to take that chance and take a run off him. Basically flicking it onto himself and 3 defenders.
Yeah, he doesn't have much support, and the issue for Olympic in that department is 2 of their key men who normally play in that final third. Jed Hornery and Dino Fadjevic both out tonight with injury. Jed Hornery, our thoughts go out to him. He's done his ACL, MCL as well. He's out probably for a year. That was in that intra-club trial match that Olympic played in the build-up to this FFA Cup clash. And this is good skills from Jared Muller all the way, and the strike on goal is blocked by his own teammate.
That was great work and great footwork. Hasn't had much joy with the ball, hasn't had much time on the ball. Showed some wonderful feet there to get a shot away.
And just to finish off on Jed Horner, he scored the winner in Olympics' last 2 FFA Cup wins, round 6 and round 7, to get to this stage in 1-0 wins against Lambton Jaffers and Coff City United. So a key man, and awful to hear he's been struck down with injury once again. It's a career which has been hindered by a number of injuries for Jed.
He's a wonderful young man, Jed, too, so we wish him all the best and a speedy recovery. Never nice to hear those kind of things.
Jovanovic, he's tried his luck from here previously, decides instead for Najar. Noon, De Silva free, back to Rose. And Pearce with a bit of a fumble in the end. I think he's tried to make it out like it was no big deal. And he'll have the ball in his hands.
It was a nice play again, wasn't it, from Macarthur? Moving the ball around down one side. Noon, who's had countless touches on the ball today and balls into the box, just held it up, floated it to the back stick.
Well, Townsend came through and absolutely cleaned up Charles Momombwa. De Silva cutting back, clobbered in the box. Tom Davies and Macarthur's new signing coming together. There is an issue though, and there's a yellow card that is going to come out. It's just trying to find the man who committed the offence on Charles Momombwa. And he is struggling, just trying to get his breath back.
It was a full-blooded challenge. It looks like he just had the breath knocked out of him.
Yeah, I believe it was Jared Dodds who went into the book, the new signing for Olympic from Hills United in the NPL2 competition. So Pearce just punches one down the ground with a little bit of wind assistance. And back come the Bulls. De Silva had the run of noon, opted against finding the Englishman, Uzkok. Now Najar Momombwa, he has recovered. Still the same silky skills we've seen all evening.
Gee, he looks good, doesn't he? Really sharp. Great little runs in behind, sharp feet, quick on the turn.
23 years of age. The young man born in Liverpool in Sydney. Davila feeding De Silva. How often have we seen those two link up already tonight? That's going to be a fascinating combination to watch this season for Bulls fans and neutrals across the league. Just moving the ball around at will at the moment. Macarthur. Momombwa takes on treble. Couldn't get it past the first man. But once again, you feel it could only be a matter of time. Noon, he would love a goal. The deflection favours De Silva. And now Davila. Here's De Silva. Davila appeals for handball. Much. Just slightly overhit it, but Meredith has the speed to run it down. And now Davila and De Silva try a little bit of link up, some silky stuff. It just doesn't come off, but every game those two play, they're going to develop that telepathy.
Yeah, they're starting to enjoy it, aren't they? There's a little bit of frustration early when they couldn't break Olympic down, but now they have their goals. They've got so much possession. Let's start trying some things. Let's work some combinations, some step overs, some nice little balls around the corner. Start to get that understanding happening before next week's season opener.
Well, a rare mistake from Macarthur. The ball just hoofed up the ground. You don't see that too often from the Bulls. And now Olympic have some possession with their back line. This is almost unbelievable to see because it just has not happened this evening, and it won't happen for much longer. Charles Mwamba, he's deserved a goal. Finds Noon. Up they rise. Lockie Rose has a second. Once again, the waves of attacks from the Bulls kept coming, and finally they grab a goal in the second half.
It's that man Noon again down the right, cuts onto his right this time. Just floats it into the back area, and it's Meredith who takes 3 defenders across the near post. And Lachlan Rose just with a nice header straight back across the keeper and into that far corner. A wonderful finish. You can't say it hasn't been coming.
Well, he'll be pumped with that because we've seen Lockie's ability with his feet on the ground, his ability with the ball, his speed, but the fact now he's adding that heading ability, scoring goals with his head is only a good thing, and now we do get a look at that speed, and he's burning away, finding Davila. Trickles wide to De Silva. Don't think it was intentional, but it did the trick. Meredith. And Rose! Almost a hat-trick of headers for Lockie Rose.
He's causing problems. And he's shown tonight he's good in the air. You see the goal again. Just guides that back across the keeper. Noon, great feet. Great feet, just hangs it up. Says, go on, just put your head on that. And he almost picked up another one a minute later. Starting to enjoy it. First 35 minutes, he couldn't get a look in. Surrounded by 5 or 6 Olympic players. He's found some space and got himself a couple already. I'm sure he'll be hungry for more.
Well, you just wonder whether Olympic players think when he's that close to goal in the box, well, as we see Kane treble, is there a consolation goal for Newcastle Olympic as he's dispossessed? And they're rushing forward. Good intervention from Townsend. Milicic is doing some sprints up and down the sideline as well. He's keeping fit. Noon with the right and deflects into the path of Adam Pearce. You almost feel like the Olympic defence was so worried about the speed of Lockie Rose. They've underestimated his ability with his head and given him too much space in that sort of 6-yard box.
Yeah, he's shown some good movement, some great movement. Number 9 kind of movement, I would say, the out-and-out striker, where he comes away from the area that he wants to attack for his first goal and then brings himself back in across the defender, and for his second goal just to drift off to that back stick as the Meredith took everyone to the front post. So great awareness of what's happening around him, good movement, 2 different kinds of headers.
All 3 goals for the Bulls tonight have come from headers. Jovanovic on the ball just then with the first, and then Lockie Rose with the last 2.
And it's no surprise that it's been Noon with the suppliers of the cross.
Here he comes again, almost supplying Davila. It would have been 4-0 if it wasn't for Rutledge at the back for Olympic. So some opportunities now for a couple of young Olympic players. Luke Valone heading out there. The 23-year-old is actually off to Canberra next season, so this will be his final match for Olympic in this, his second stint with the club. And Daniel Ball McKinnon making his Olympic debut. There is Luke Valone. Second stint with Olympic after he was with their crosstown rivals Adamstown Rosebud for the previous couple of seasons. Kane treble. Dispossessed. So Macarthur yet to make any changes.
That's watching Ante Milicic giving instructions to his bench now, but he's been up and down that sideline imploring his team to keep moving the ball, get up, squeeze the space. He's not letting them rest. He doesn't want a routine performance. He wants them to really keep driving this home.
Wooscock, Much picking up the scraps. And Noon. And just beyond Danny De Silva. So the sun setting on Olympic season. They'll have a few weeks off and then get back started with their 2022 pre-season. Big year ahead for Joel Griffiths, second year as head coach. He'll want to put behind him the sluggish finish to the season. Start afresh next year. Get Olympic back up the top of the table and competing for silverware as they consistently are in the NPL Northern New South Wales. Maybe just a bit of fatigue creeping in for Macarthur as well.
I just think it was a bit of miscommunication. Meredith just stopped his run at the exact time the ball was played. It's not going to be right every time. These are the things that you work on.
Davila. And here's Much. So the new recruits for Macarthur linking up well today. Davila, Noon, Much. Danny De Silva as well. Here is Much. Straight into the breadbasket of Adam Pearce. Tommy Wooscock, another man. And then the new recruits still yet to appear for Macarthur. Al Hassan Toure, who is cup-tied for this one. Tommy Urich as well. Philip Kurto, who's arriving in the country this weekend from Poland. The former Western United and Wellington goalkeeper. Very quick signing for Macarthur after the loss of Adam Federici to retirement.
When you look at that squad on paper, some real quality in there. And Ante Milicic will be expecting them to really produce and have a good run this season. Great first year last year, lots of changes, but a lot of quality coming in.
It's always the difficulty, isn't it, when you have such a great first year, you hold yourself to that standard, the expectations. They did finish 6th, so they'll be hoping they can get themselves a little higher than that this year, but they got to within that one win of the grand final. Beaten in the end by the premiers and champions, Melbourne City. Momombois goes down there a little too easily again. They got a 4-on-3 Olympic and no whistle And he's just spotted Adam Pearce off his line, did Craig Noon. Not going to trouble the Olympic keeper though.
It was a rare occasion when Olympic they broke in numbers and actually outnumbered the Macarthur defenders.
Well, that's why it's surprising there wasn't a whistle. What did you think? Did you think it deserved a free kick there for Jared Muller?
50-50. I hope they both came for the ball. I thought he could have released the ball a little earlier, just before the challenge was even warranted or was there to be taken. They had a 4v3 overload. He could have played the ball and kept going himself for the support play. As I say, I think that's the only time the Olympic have broken and done it with numbers and almost caught Macarthur napping.
The bullpen will go home happy tonight.
Haven't heard too many of the bells ringing this evening, Ben.
Maybe they're a bit out of practice as well. The arms are a bit fatigued. It's only the FFA Cup, Macca. They'll get into the swing of things when the A-League men's season starts next week. As Davila, Much, and Mamombwa. It's good just break for Olympic, Jared Muller.
Well, they've stepped up a little higher and they started the press, and you saw that when they did that, they put Macarthur under a little bit of a pressure and nearly forced a turnover. Back to the status quo.
Slipped up by De Silva. Jovanovic found Davia in space. And now Noon places it. Lockie Rose doesn't have a hat-trick because he's offside. And now Olympic, they are switched on, looking to move it quickly. They weren't going to outsmart Moody Najar though. There may be a stop in play here. The Olympic keeper Adam Pearce just grabbing maybe a stomach. Could be a little winded after that collision. He seems to be all right at the moment. A big signing for Olympic for next season, Adam Pearce. Good goalkeeper, of course, with A-League experience. There's Noon, rolls it to Najar. Jovanovic. De Silva, Much. You're just waiting for the likes of De Silva or Davia to grab a goal, but it's Lockie Rose who's getting himself in those goal-scoring situations at the moment.
Yeah, he's had great movement in the box. Just drifting between these defenders at all times, shifting off their shoulders, coming across the front of them. It's very difficult for a defender to know where he's going.
So some changes on the way for Macarthur. Tommy Orr and Jake Holman just being readied by Ante Milicic. Najar going it alone. Just spun away from him at the key moment. Noon onto that left. Noon ripping it goalwards, and Marcus Duncan's header was the only thing that prevented it from making it 4-0 to the Bulls.
Well, Adam Pearce was standing and watching that curl into the far top corner. But Duncan had other ideas, rose and cleared with the head. Thought Noon probably was thinking, I finally got my goal, but still not to be.
One man who'll be searching for a goal is Tommy Orr, who's just about to come on. Hasn't scored for Macarthur yet. Much. The back heel. Davila. And pushed away by Pearce. So here come the changes. Charles Mamombwa is going to make way for Tommy Orr. Regular starter last season for the Bulls was Tommy, former Socceroo, and Jake Holman heading out there for Craig Noon, who's put in a terrific shift. Bulls fans will be excited with Craig Noon tonight, of course against NPL opposition, but a good first start in Bulls colours.
Probably the two guys coming off have probably been the best two players for Macarthur. Noon and Mamamba.
You got it?
Got stuck in my mouth there. They're probably the two best players, as I was saying.
Holman along the ground.
Noon with multiple touches and balls into the box, always probing, coming back on that left, occasionally on the right. Whipped balls, floated balls, showing a full repertoire of ability.
Little think over the top here from Thurston. He'll have a strike, and it's just pushed wide. A near thing for Newcastle Olympic. They almost had the goal they craved against A-League men's opposition. It was Luke Valone there making that run down the left. Superb stuff.
And that's what you want to see. Longer ball goes in, couple of runners. Nice little run and a great strike.
Now called in at the near post. Marcus Duncan was making the beeline to the near stick. And now Jake Holman trying to turn around the Olympic defence. He's done well to keep the ball at his feet. And now the free kick is awarded his way.
He did well 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 nibbles at him. Kept the ball, kept his feet. Showed a clean player of heels. That's what the referee said, but enough was enough.
Davila. Duncan got in the way again. He's got himself in some good positions. The Olympic centre back, Marcus Duncan. Or hooking it out wide to Holman. They'll build with another corner, the Bulls. Jake Holman, plenty of energy since he came onto the park. De Silva tried to have a lash to Jovanovic. Didn't get a piece of it. Got a piece of an Olympic player instead. And it has just jarred his boot. Here's another free kick for Macarthur.
I think Tom Davies thought he was getting the free kick there. He looked like it was the one being pulled down. No, actually just went down himself and held the head of Davila, so good refereeing.
It was the sneaky fall and tug on the leg, wasn't it?
Thought he got away with it.
Jordan Much finding Jovanovic. Najar has Holman on the outside. And now Tommy Orr Yet to score for Macarthur. Kane Treble, his option is to knock it to Muller. The chest was heavy, but does retain possession for Olympic. Can they do something with it? It's been a real challenge for them tonight. Could be a slight opening here for Jared Muller. 9 goals in the NPL this season. He has caused some headaches for the Macarthur defence at times. On that occasion, crunched by 2 Bulls players. Najjar across there, Tommy Orr as well. Orr showing his speed. Switching play across to Meredith. De Silva.
It's been lively today, Daniel De Silva. Always looking to get him on the ball and combine with his teammates. De Villa especially, with little 1-2s, just drifting around the edge of the box.
Holman, tricky feet. Corner coming again for Macarthur.
Well defended by Treble. He's had a torrid time down that left. First Noon, now Holman.
Davila clipping. Thurston away with the header, doing the defensive work. The striker. And now De Silva sprays it wide.
Sorry if he was in 2 minds there, thinking for the strike and then maybe changed his mind halfway through the cross, but ended up neither here nor there. I'm sure Lachlan Rose was in the middle screaming at him, put it on my head. I need that third.
Well, the question is, does Joel Griffiths give Kyle Hodges a go? He's been the Olympic captain for so long. Not tonight, of course. Reece Cooper with the armband, with Kyle Hodges struggling this season with a calf injury, but doesn't look as though it may happen at this point. He's got the record at the club for the most amount of matches without scoring a goal. Maybe tonight would be the night. 166 matches, I believe it is, yeah. Barry Park is second with 129.
And that's the kind of record he would love you to be saying on TV, Ben.
I've been saying it for 5 years, so it's imprinted to the back of my head.
He does play at the back. Are you going to mention that or give him a little bit of leeway? He's not a goalkeeper.
He's not a goalkeeper. He's a defender, so should score from set pieces. Macca. Here's De Silva. And Lockie Rose, he would love a hat-trick. A hat-trick hero. And a headband hero as well. He's got a corner to potentially get on the end of now, Lockie Rose. 2 goals tonight from headers for him. Jovanovic, a centre-back, did score tonight for Macarthur. As Orr floating it across. Here he is again. He's getting himself into good positions, is Alex Jovanovic. He's had some sights on goal tonight.
It's that dangerous area, drifting into the back post. The defence is fixed on the ball and it will start to creep to the near post. Just leave some space at the back post. I've exposed it a couple of times. And again, as the ball went to that back stick with Jovanovic, it was again Lachlan Rose peeling off to the other post. The ball almost made it to him as Olympic break again.
What can they muster? Not much, it would seem. Macarthur just toying with them. Winning possession back for Macarthur tonight has been like taking candy from a baby. It's been that simple for them. Olympic really haven't caused them many headaches at all. Jared Muller had a good mazy run down the left. Reece Cooper a strike early on. And Luke Falone with a hit that was saved. But that is about it from an Olympic perspective.
Yeah, it's definitely been slim pickings. Quality of Macarthur to keep the ball. The defensive mindset from Olympic. Found it really difficult when they did win the ball to get the ball forward. No one in a forward position. Really just played into the hands of Macarthur, who had their two central defenders almost 15 metres inside Olympic half for most of this game.
So it looks as though we're going to get a look at Alexander Shushnia. A tall centre back. He's going to get a few minutes on the pitch at number 2 Sports Ground. Orr and Holman returns it to Tommy Orr. Just thumped clear by Blake Green. So here we go. It's going to be a double change, and Olympic, are they going to give their goalkeeper a run? Their backup keeper, Dan Eisenhower, they are. So he's going to replace Adam Pearce, and Kai Fortune goes out there now for Luke Rutledge. Dan Eisenhower was the goalkeeper for Newcastle Olympic the season just gone. So good to see him getting some time out there on the pitch against the A-League men's opposition. And it's a like-for-like switch. An Alex for an Alex, a centre-half for a centre-half. So, no, that is not Ulysses Davila. That is definitely Jovanovic, who is leaving, and Shushnia heads out there.
Well, Eisenhower, the goalkeeper substitution. He's got 4 minutes to keep a clean sheet. You'll be able to say he's kept a clean sheet against A-League opposition. Lovely ball. Great ball, switching the plate.
De Silva. The touch from Much. In between Meredith and De Silva. Shushnia getting his first touches on the ball. So Macarthur next week, they take on Wellington in the A-League men's opener. The last match in the opening match day on the Sunday. Can they finish this one with an exclamation mark? Not quite. And you can hear the cheers. They're not for that man Jordan Much. They're for the goalkeeper Adam Pearce, who's got quite the fan club.
Must have a big family, Adam.
Well, he actually grew up in Foster, just north of Newcastle, and started as a striker, would you believe, and now a goalkeeper, so he's got a big role to play for Olympic next year. Kane Treble. He'll win a throw for Olympic. Is there a consolation goal, which will mean a lot for Olympic? It's the long throw from Treble. Muller trying to get it up, maybe for the bicycle. Duncan, it's a scuff shot. Easy pickings for Suman, who you would expect now will keep a clean sheet in his competitive debut for Macarthur. You wonder whether he may start next week. Philip Curto will be here, but how much training or jet lag he could have, he may just be given the week to get himself prepped for round 2, which is a big clash for Macarthur. They play Sydney in round 2. I'll see you there, Macca. That should be a good match. The Bulls and the Sky Blues. Local derby. 3 minutes of additional time. Muller, he can't believe he hasn't won a throw.
He's battled hard, Muller, up front on his own. Very trying circumstances. He hasn't stopped working to the last minutes of the game, and he's still trying and bustling and trying to fight for that ball.
Davila. Now Much. So at the moment it's going to be the same scoreline that their fellow NPL Northern New South Wales rivals were beaten by in the Cup for Olympic. Magic beaten 3-0 by Wanderers on Wednesday. And Jake Holman almost had a chance to make it 4. Kane Treble, he's not giving up. Look at him go in a foot race here with Lockie Rose. He was almost on the treadmill then, you'd feel, with the likes of Rose and Holman speeding after him.
He's had a long night defensively, but he has shown some promise going forward. When he does get that ball, he wanted to try and create something.
Well, he can't go now with Lockie Rose. Opens up the space. And now De Silva. Touch too heavy. He deserves a goal, Danny De Silva.
It was a great ball from Lachlan Rose in behind as well. Just a little too tight for Danny De Silva to get it under control. Just tried to skip around the keeper.
Muller rolling it back. Meredith read the situation. Najjar has Holman. Almost pinched by Valone. Tommy Orr couldn't reach De Silva. And now Muller will earn a free kick for Olympic, maybe the last kick of the game. Why don't they just stick everyone in the box and just launch one in there?
Got nothing to lose now. Go and get yourself some glory. Get yourself a goal against an A-League opponent. Throw the keeper up. Get everyone up. He's too concerned with his clean sheet. He wants to stay back.
So it's Tom Curran to take. Decent shape. Green. And Treble hanging it up. Falls. It's a bit of a scuff shot. He got the boot raise bursting. And the cup mission is complete for Macarthur. First cup clash, first victory. And Ante Milicic's men are through to the final 16 for the first time in club history. Lockie Rose with 2 headed goals. Alex Jovanovic scored the opener. It was all Macarthur, utterly dominant tonight. A result which will give them plenty of confidence heading into that opening round of the A-League men's next week. So full time at number 2 Sports Ground. Newcastle Olympic 0, Macarthur 3, and Daniel McBreen. Those stats tell the story.
Yeah, routine performance from Macarthur. Controlled 89% of the ball. Some nice highlights from them. Lachlan Rose, a couple of great headed goals. Jovanovic dangerous as well.